Today on The Joy of Editing, I'll show you a way I've come up with which will get you better results when using prompts in Photoshop Beta's Generative Fill. These results will be closer to the results you would get if you used Adobe Firefly. So, sit back, relax, and stay tuned. Hello everyone, and welcome to The Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. I have a good one for you today. You know, I like to use Photoshop Beta's Generative Fill and use prompts to create images right in Photoshop like you would do if you go to the Firefly website and generate an image. But I must say the results I've been getting, I've not been super happy with because they just look just a little bit off. And I'll show you what I mean. But I've come up with a way to get very similar results to what you would get in Firefly, which is what you're seeing right now. This is Firefly. The Firefly website is really nice, but you know what? I work in Photoshop and I would rather stay in Photoshop and not have to leave it. And that is the reason for this tutorial. How can we get similar results right here in Photoshop Beta? But first, let me show you the type of results I've been getting in Photoshop Beta, and then I'll show you how to improve upon those results. What you're seeing right now is a transparent blank square canvas, okay? And if we want to see what size I'm using here, if we come up here to image and come to image size, you can see that this is a 4096 pixel by 4096 pixel square canvas. Now, to get maximum resolution using Photoshop Beta's Generative Fill, you need a 1024 pixel size. Now, that is very important, and Firefly is based on that 1024 pixel size as well. But right now, we know that my canvas is a lot larger than that, which is, again, 4096 by 4096. But this is the size of an image I want to make. Now, I have a prompt already figured out for what I want to make here. So what I'm going to do is select the entire canvas. And a shortcut for that is Command or Control A to select the entire canvas. Then I can come up here to Generative Fill. And I have a prompt already, so I'm just going to right-click this and click Paste. And my prompt is in here, and I'll click Generate. And you can see the prompt is Psychedelic, Cyberpunk, Digital Art, Portrait of Futuristic Asian Man in a Beanie Hat and Glasses, Apocalyptic. And here is my image, and it looks pretty cool, right? And here's another version. You know, we get 3 versions here. Here's another version, and that one's cool too. And here is another version. They're all very cool, but here's the deal. I'm going to zoom into this image so we can really see it. You can see how it is very super low resolution. You see that? It is not very good. Let me go ahead and fit the screen again here. At this distance, it may look okay, but if you went to print this out, you would not be happy with your results. So let me show you what I've come up with. This is only part of the fix. There's another part to it too, which I'll tell you a little later on, but here's the first part. I'm going to come up and click on the Home button in Photoshop and click on New File, and I saved some files out in presets, so I'm going to click on Saved, and you'll notice I have different presets here. One of them is called Landscape Gen Fill, and you'll notice it's 1024 by 745 pixels. I have one called Portrait, which is 745 by 1024. You notice the 1024s in all these. And then I have a Square, which is 1024 by 1024 pixels. And then I have a Widescreen Gen Fill, which is 1792 by 1024 pixels. And by the way, I'll leave these dimensions in the description below this video if you want to make your own presets right here in Photoshop Beta. And by the way, I derived these numbers right off of the Firefly results that you get back. So these are the exact resolutions that Firefly gives you. So let's click on 1024 by 1024 and I'll click Create. And now I have a blank pixel layer. And you're going to see a remarkable difference here. I'm going to put that same prompt in. Now remember, you have to select the entire canvas, so that's Command or Control A, and then I'll click on Generative Fill. And by the way, if you don't see your contextual taskbar, just come up here to Window and make sure you have contextual taskbar checked on. And then I'll just go ahead and paste in my prompt again, and I'll click Generate. And now here's our result. Here's my first result. Here is my second result. That's really cool. And here is my third result. That's really cool too. Now compare that to this. See that very low resolution? And now I'll click on the 1024 by 1024 that I just made, and it's a lot higher resolution. However, it's on the small side, and I grant you that, and that is a problem. That's why I have a second solution for you, and that is to upscale your image. Now, I'll show you two ways. You can upscale right here in Photoshop. It's not the best way, but you can definitely upscale it. I don't know if I'd make a print off it. Or the best way, in my opinion, is if you want to stay in Photoshop, is to use Topaz Gigapixel AI. I'll start out with Photoshop upsizing. First, I want to duplicate my image, so I'm going to come up here to Image and click Duplicate, and I'll go ahead and name this one Gigapixel AI, and I'll click OK. And on this one, the duplicate, I'm going to have to stamp these layers together to send this into Gigapixel AI. The shortcut Shift, Option, Command, or Control E. But for now, I'll go back to that first image, and we're going to upsize this first with Photoshop, and then we'll compare Photoshop with Gigapixel. To upsize this in Photoshop, we'll come up to Image, click on Image, and come down to Image Size. And right now, I'm on percent. This is a drop down. You have different choices here, pixels, inches, so on. I'm going to use percent, and I want to upsize this 400%. 400. Now the image will be 4096 by 4096 pixels. And then right here for resample, I have mine set for automatic. You can try these different presets out. Here's one, Preserve Details Enlargement, Preserve Details 2.0. I believe that's the better one. And then you have Bicubic Smoother for enlargement. And I'll use 2.0. I think that's the best, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below, but I think it is. And I'm just going to click OK, and that'll go ahead and upsize it. And now I'm going to go ahead on my TK8CX panel, click this button, and that'll just fit that to screen. So now you can see, there it is. Now we can compare it to the other image that I did, which will be a different image, but I just want you to look at the resolution. So here's the other image. You can see that is a very degraded resolution rate. If we look at this one that I upsized in Photoshop, you can see it looks better. But now we'll do Gigapixel, and you'll see the same image compared to the Photoshop upsizing with this one. The nice thing about Gigapixel AI is you can use it right out of Photoshop. All you need to do is come up here to File and come down to Automate and find Topaz Gigapixel AI. Click on that. That'll launch Gigapixel AI, and we'll go ahead and upscale this. Now, here we are inside of Gigapixel AI, and I've experimented with the different AI models, and I find that low res works pretty much all the time with just the auto setting. I'm going to go ahead on settings and toggle this on for automatic, and we'll let this render out here. It'll take a second. Okay, so it gives me a little bit of sharpening, and it suppresses noise slightly. I'm just going to accept it just the way it is. I'll click Apply. This is pretty quick. As you can see, I'll leave it in real time, and we'll go right back into Photoshop. Now, it depends on your computer. Some computers may be faster, some may be slower. I'm going to go ahead and make this one full size. We'll compare the Photoshop upscaling to this one here in a sec. But this is the Gigapixel, so you can study it here, and this is the Photoshop. See how it's a little smoother? Like, look at the lips here, and you can see it here. What I'll do is I'll drag this image on top of the Photoshop image. What I'll do is I have my move tool, I'll hold my shift key down, and I'll just drag this and pull it right into that other image and release this. And there we go. So now we can see this is Gigapixel on the top layer, and if I shut this off, you can see the Photoshop rendition. But look at the hat up in here. I'll zoom in so we can really see here. So let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit here so we can really see the difference here. This is Gigapixel AI. Now let me show you Photoshop's version. See how much smoother that is? Like, look at the lips and the mustache. And now here is Gigapixel. So you can see it's a lot better. And we'll zoom around to some other areas here. Like, let's look up here on the hat. This is Gigapixel, and this is Photoshop's rendition. So you can clearly see it's a lot sharper. Now to recap, these are the sizes I recommend. If you want to do a square image, do 1024 by 1024 pixels. For a portrait, you want to use 745 by 1024 pixels. For a landscape, use 1024 by 745 pixels. And for a widescreen 16 by 9, use a 1792 by 1024 pixels. and you should be in good shape. That's step one. You want to start out with those canvas sizes. And secondly, you need to upscale using either Photoshop, or I would highly recommend that you would use Topaz Gigapixel AI if you want to stay in Photoshop. Now, if you don't have Gigapixel AI, I have affiliate links in the description below. You can click on that link. When you use my link, I make a small commission, and that helps me to keep YouTube tutorials coming your way. And when you do that, I appreciate it and thank you. By the way, Topaz Photo AI does not support upscaling in Photoshop, but Gigapixel does. Here are some other images that I've processed the exact same way that I showed you in this tutorial. They started out as 1024 by 1024 pixel images, upscaled with Topaz Gigapixel AI. Also, try out the other aspect ratios that I told you about in this tutorial. I'll list those sizes in the description below this video. Well, that's all for now. Give this a try and let me know in the comment section below what kind of results you're getting. I'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you enjoyed today's tutorial, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you're not yet a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe. Click that bell notification icon. Every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll get notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. I will see you all right here next time, but until then, happy editing!